What's up, guys? This is Frazzleberry making a new My Thoughts. It's been a while, so I think it's a pretty good game to go back to make a video for. Yeah, this will be shit. It's Ar Tonelico or Ar Tonelico. And then this is where the mindfuck comes in. All right, it's hold on, let me try to understand this. It's like Qoga Knell of Ar Ciel, or Qoga Jin Knell of Ar Ciel. I don't know. It's in like Korean or something. But yeah. So if you think that's a fucked up title, the Japanese one is Ar Tonelico 3: The Girls' Songs That Pull the Trigger of the World's Demise, or something like that. But what matters the most, not the title. It's actually the game. The game is what is good. Alright, so I'm not gonna say like what if it's bad or good yet. I'll get to that. Look at that. Like when I'm looking at my list of likes and dislikes for a game, usually I have a lot of dislikes. Not too many good things, but I don't know. I mean, usually it's really minor stuff. So I'll start with my likes like normally. This game features the English Japanese like voiceovers, so you can switch between them. That's a good feature. I think it's really good because I'm not really one of those guys who thinks Japanese is superior to English, but in certain situations I think it can be true. For example, this game, it has a couple good voice actors in there, but the main character is voiced by like some random guy I've never even heard before. His voice it sounds very like poorly dubbed, like Arcrized dub. If you don't believe me, go watch I think it's the English teaser trailer. You'll know what I'm talking about. But it's good that they introduced that feature. Not really introduced, but keep it, like a lot of games do. So next up, the Cosmosphere. The Cosmosphere is pretty basic. It's interesting though. It has a lot of depth to it, I guess. It's really linear though, so I guess it's not really depthy. But all right. Basically, you have two females like love interests in the game. They're called Ravitales. Basically, they have like magic and stuff. But what happens is, in order to strengthen a Ravitale, you have to dive inside of them. And yeah, that's pretty perverted. I don't know. It sounds perverted when you first hear about it, because it's just like there's a lot of sexual tension and like a lot of jokes based around that. But yeah, you basically have to dive inside of the girls, and once you go in there, you have nine floors, I believe, of basically just these small little scenarios that are comedy based for the most part, and you pretty much have to it usually, okay, like it's like a board game kind of. There's like 5 different areas you can visit, and you have to like, it'll tell you which one to go to, but you basically click that, go there. Going to each area requires BP, which you get from battles. I didn't have enough to get maxed by the end of the game, but it was quite a bit. So that's that. You basically just go from area to area, do a bunch of comedy events here and there. Once you're done with that, you pretty much just you're told that like your relationship is stronger, and then you can go down to the or up to the next floor. But what that does is it makes your combat a lot more efficient. Which brings me to this, the next thing I like about this game, the combat. It's kind of mixed. It's really basic, and there isn't really much to go into. But for the entire game, you're gonna be overpowered, except for maybe the first couple hours. All right. So the way combat works is you have vanguards and your Ravitale. You have 2 Ravitales throughout the whole game, so. Basically, it's preference based. It doesn't really matter. At least I didn't notice a difference, pretty much. So basically, what happens is your Ravitale sits in the back. They are basically building up their burst gauge. The Vanguard's job is to make sure they don't get near the Ravitale because it disrupts their channeling. So it seems a little weird at first, but what happens is in the bottom corner you have this. It's called like it's like. Basically, it's like it's like a musical note thingy. Like it shows like pitches. Like the higher the pitch, the more gauge you build. So basically, you have to hit your like your melee attacks on these like special notes, and it gives her more meter. So once you get her more burst percentage, she'll be able to do more damage in combat. But it makes sense. It makes sense, right? Like the more burst gauge, the more her damage will do. Your whole goal is to protect her. You get her meter up by doing so. But they introduced this other thing called stripping, which it is what it is. You take off clothes, but what happens is Ravitals get stronger when they expose more skin to the planet or whatever. Because I don't know, it allows more energy inside of them or something. But what happens is once your burst meter hits a certain amount of notes, pretty much they build up enough meter to what is it called? It's called purge, I think. Basically, you have your 4 like triggers, your L1, L2, R1, R2. Each of those is an element, and when you basically purge your character, like let's say like L1 is fire element, L2 is water element, R1 is lightning, and R2 is ice, or not ice, it's earth, I think. You basically when you purge your clothes off of her, she'll remove one at a time basically early in the game. So like let's say you hit L1 purge, she'll take off her coat and she'll have fire element on everyone. And then so on. Like if you do it on the water one, you'll get water element. She'll take off her shirt. And it goes until she gets into her like underwear, but that's not what matters. The bonuses are pretty awesome though. And what happens is once you get to like level 2 purge, level 3 purge, you're basically gonna always kill the whatever's on the battlefield in one hit. It's kind of overpowered, and I'm not shitting you. For the entire game, I was killing monsters that have like 4,000 standard HP. I was hitting like 30,000s on them within the first 30 seconds. So yeah, it's a little overpowered. They do make the whole trigger thing a little bit more deep. Basically, when you're in the Cosmosphere, you unlock these things called humas, which are basically little pixies or some shit like that. You equip those to your triggers, and then like let's say you do your L1 fire purge. If you equipped a increased damage huma to that button, you would also get a attack buff for all of your characters. So it's not really that much to it. Like I don't know. It's a nice little bonus. But they have pointless ones like resistant to let's say sleep or paralyze. I shit you not, I was only paralyzed maybe 2 times throughout the entire game. And there's a whole shitload of items made around just carrying your status alignments. But they never really use them. So that's another little beef, but I think the gameplay, it could have been a lot more complex, especially around the leveling system, because you level you level up every like 5-6 battles. It's ridiculous. It's a very simple RPG. But I guess those were my likes. I mean, the story is pretty funny. It's enough to satisfy your RPG needs. It's kind of interesting, but it felt like they were ramping it up to something that never really happened. Like your bad guys, they're always in your face, and then they're like gone, and they're back in your face, and they're gone again. Like you never finish any of them off. Same with the characters. None of your characters ever die or lose anything. There's no sacrifice at all. I think that's what makes an RPG a really good RPG, is when a character dies or something. But that brings me to like probably my biggest complaint. The story. It's all over the place. There'll be parts where you'll be like, like, all right. The first enemy in the game is this boss that you fight throughout the rest of the game. Like every once in a while she'll show back up. Every time she shows up, she's like, "I'm gonna kill you guys." You beat her. She's like, "Oh, you guys, whatever. I'm gonna leave. No reason. I'm just gonna leave." So she leaves. This happens throughout the entire game, and then eventually she tells you why she's going after the girl in your party. It's because like it's a revenge issue basically. Like she's connected to the people who killed her parent. So, like basically at the end of the game, near the end of the game, she's like, she's holding off the bad guy for you guys. She's like, "You guys escape. I got this guy. He's the asshole, right?" So she goes, fights him. Like 10 minutes later, you're at the bottom of the base trying to escape. So this guy shows back up somehow, and he's like, "You're not getting out of here." Then she shows back up, and she's just like, "Yo, get out of here, guys. I got this guy." and it makes no sense. And then there's like the general of the bad guys. She shows up a few times, and she's always like apparently so powerful that like you couldn't even hurt her. So you don't even try because it would make too much sense. So you don't try to fight this girl at all, but then she joins you like randomly. I don't know. It's just it's weird. The story, it's pretty basic though. It's amnesia girl uses singing magic to do stuff, but then they introduce a lot of like interesting things like the goddesses and the personas within the Ravitales. They're like named after goddesses, and like it seems like they were making it about to be something pretty awesome, but they never really did anything with it. There's like 6 endings, I think, 5 or 6 endings. I only got 2 of them. Not that I really cared to go back and get them. I mean, this game is like huge into replaying. There's like a bunch of all of your extras that you unlock carry over, which the extras are really good in this game. Like they have all of the songs in there with each of them has like a detailed note from the composer. It's pretty cool. But yeah, just the story overall, it wasn't like anything amazing, but it was decent enough. But I'm still gonna fault it on the randomness. Next up would be the battle system's way too easy. It's just your Ravitale. She's way too powerful. She kills everything. Your AIs, you cannot control them. They don't heal at all. They just run around and attack constantly. So yeah, it's just the battle system's too easy. Another little complaint: weapons and armors. Like there's a lot of those like weapon and armors throughout the rest of the game because you synthesize a lot of stuff in this game, and it doesn't actually affect your character's appearance. Like there's so many swords, and whenever you select an item, it shows like a detailed image of it. It looks different every time. Like you'll have like a blue sword here, then you'll have like this big ass like circular sword that's like green and yellow, but it only affects that little display image. It doesn't actually affect it in game. So that's kind of a bummer. A lot of armors too, a lot of accessories. Not every cutscene is voiced. There's a lot of just text scrolling. It's not a big problem, but for a PS3 game, come on, we at least need that. Then there's like a 14-minute patch, but whatever. So I think it's a decent RPG. It's definitely worth a rent. I wouldn't buy this game. It's probably gonna become rare, so it might be worth a buy, but I don't know. For a $60 RPG, I only got 24 hours out of it, 3 sessions. I just think they could have done a lot better. I've never played the other 2, so I don't know if they were longer, but this was it was a good game, but it wasn't that good of a game. You know what I'm saying? So I would say rent it, don't buy it, and play it.